Hi, everybody. Cappi Pidwell here. Today, I want to talk to you about the three biggest mistakes that are possibly killing your productivity. If you don't know who I am, my name is Cappi Pidwell. I am a master of NLP and hypnotherapy, and I help people that really want to generate new outcomes and more income. People that are in sales, coaches, speakers, real estate agents, and anyone who has to self generate as an entrepreneur in sales. I help you upgrade your mindset, increase your income through these subconscious solutions that I share with you today. So I'm excited to be here, always excited to be here. I'm new on YouTube, so please like, subscribe, and comment if you love this video. But I really want you to understand that even if you don't know that you're secretly sabotaging your success, the subconscious is driving all of your decisions. So that's why it's really powerful to go inside and dive into the internal world. And I'll get into those three mistakes that could be secretly killing your productivity. Okay. So do you ever find yourself being really busy? I always call it busy being busy. And then at the end of the day, you're like, I didn't get anything done, or I didn't do the things that I wanted to do, or the tasks I set out to do. And sometimes people put things off, or they call it procrastination, right? Or they don't feel motivated and all that stuff. But there really is this deeper dive to what is secretly killing that productivity. And again, we're going to really get into understanding that it's not just a time management issue, which that's what people are typically taught. It's actually a subconscious program and emotion. Again, and I dive in a little deeper about this because feeling motivated is temporary and that only gets you so far. So I do know that really productive people, they don't wait until they feel good to do something. They act, and then their actions do create momentum. However, let's talk about your actions. Can't emphasize this enough. If you are taking action, I'm gonna tell you a quick story because I literally just got off a call, a Zoom with a lady. She says, "Kepi, I'm doing all the right things. I'm making the calls. I'm out there. I'm talking to people. I'm networking. Like I got this." And she's super smart. I've coached her in the past. She's just terrific. And she's like, "But you know what? I don't have a dollar. I don't have a dime." She starts making all these comments about money. And, I just saw her a few weeks ago. Every time I see her, she's talking about how broke she is. And here she is taking the action, but she's coming from, God, I hope I get this. I need to make money. She's married and she wants to feel like she's contributing financially, but her energy and her action is constantly coming from, I don't have any money. So in the conversation today, when she said, I don't even have a dollar, I said, I think you probably have a dollar. Well, you know what I mean. And I said, well, I want you to hear yourself. So she's taking action, but her emotions and her energy are in complete lack. So I want you to understand that. It's important to understand that is what's secretly sabotaging her outcome. So her productivity is there, but she's coming from so much lack that the outcome isn't equaling the action she's taking. So I hope you understand that. I'm going to keep going. So stay tuned because I'm going to have you dig a little deeper on what is behind this stuff running the show inside of you. Right. So I said to her, you're out there being busy, but then when you lay down at night, what are you worried about? And she's like, money and, getting a deal and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, that is so much bigger than what you're doing. And she's like, oh my God, you're so right. You're so right. I worry about it all the time. Right. So that's a subconscious truth, right? Because people do and feel what they're familiar with. So if you're familiar with stress, if you're familiar with fear of rejection, this could be part of your not wanting to do anything. She is, on the other hand, doing things, but she's not getting any outcomes. And that's just as bad as not being productive, quite frankly. So I'll share some things with you guys at the end too. But I want you to ask yourself whether you're that person who's busy being busy, but you're not getting anything done, or you're like her, again, doing things, not getting anything done, or you're not doing enough because you just don't have that motivation. They're very similar emotions. So here's a quick shift. Ask yourself, what emotion or feeling are you avoiding right now? I'm telling you guys, it's all these emotions in our I have other videos on it. I call it like the inner sanctuary, if you will. It's almost like you have a funnel inside of you, right? Of feelings. And they are very powerful and very on all the time, right? So, what emotion or feeling are you avoiding right now, right? So, you want to rewire this by feeling a new feeling. And this is a practice, guys. I tell people all the time, I don't have a magic wand in my hand, but you have to understand your emotions are driving your decisions. Your subconscious is where all your beliefs live. And so when you have these internal drivers driving the outcome, again, busy being busy, but no results or not the results I want, that is a big challenge for a lot of people. So understand that feeling that you're avoiding right now could be fear of rejection. It could be fear of failure. It could be a familiar feeling of, somebody else needs to provide for me or stuff like that. Again, think a little deeper on why this is happening because when you start to discover what's happening inside of you, that is really the first step to any change, right? So you want to rewire yourself by feeling a feeling that you prefer to feel instead of pressure or fear of rejection or whatever. Ask yourself the question, what would I prefer to feel? I'd like to feel prideful. I'd like to feel confident. I'd like to feel good about today. What am I creating today? And again, this is a practice, and I do have other videos here on YouTube that will help you rewire your mindset. They're called activation sessions. So when you're done with this, go watch one, but stay tuned in because I'm going to give you some more tips. All right. So trying productivity or doing things and equaling or inside emotionally evaluating it to your self-worth. Okay. So if you believe I'm not doing enough because I'm not good enough, or I'm not performing because I don't want to feel or look like a failure, right? This is your nervous system. This is your subconscious in full action for you, right? And then what happens as a result of that, if you believe that you're not good enough, we'll just say, then you're not doing enough, right? So again, I'm going to use that same story I told you earlier. She was like, I don't even have a dollar. I don't have a dime. And I'm like, wow, you probably don't feel like you're ever enough. And she said, well, what if I got a job? I said, you'd probably be at a job and then feel like, oh, I don't make enough. So I want you guys to get the theme. I said, you take you with you. You don't get to run away from yourself, right? So you got to do the work because that thing and theme is going to stay with her. And then she'll probably get a boss that she doesn't like and she'll feel like a failure at the job. Like, I can't emphasize this enough. Your emotions, your subconscious are so powerful. This is where you have to make the shift, right? So that's just incredible. So the subconscious identity conflicts with the thing you want, so to speak. So she wants success, but that inner image, that picture, is just running the show. So I want you to begin to believe. Sorry, that light's a little bright in my eyeballs. I want you to begin to understand and separate who you are from what you do. Okay. So what you do is one bucket. Like I do this for a living. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I'm a coach. I do this. I help people all day with their mindset, upgrade, rewire. I do subconscious sessions. I do EFT and NLP and all these cool processes on people. That's what I do. Okay. But I have to separate that from who am I? Because if I didn't do this, whatever I would do, I would be coming from who I am. I hope you guys get that. Because if you don't know your own personal identity, like who is Cappi? who is John, who is Sam, who is Sandy, who is Lori, whatever, right? So you know you the best. But if your inner image and identity is that of stressed or like her, I don't have a dollar, I can't do it, that's what needs to change is that identity and that story. So if your identity is that of lack and I'm not good enough or smart enough or whatever, that feeling is your performance will be in a direct reflection to the feeling. So again, she's out doing all these things, but inside she's not feeling smart enough or good enough or experienced enough, or she doesn't have any money or whatever she's telling herself, which she's married, she's got a family, she has people supporting and helping and contributing. Her inner belief is, I have to do, I have to be a contribution. Yeah. So that's the mistake number two is understanding your identity. If you're running and operating out of an old identity, you need to upgrade that. And again, I have another video, I'll put it at the end on how to change your inner identity, right? And then your performance will align with that. Okay, so mistake number three, let's dive into this one. It's overcomplicating and overthinking things. So I do know that high achievers love to think they're very complex, but also that a complexity, if you will, that overthinking also leads to excuses for people. So I'm going to tell you another conversation I had today with a lady. So she is a high performer. She does very, very well. She is in real estate. I do coach a lot of real estate agents. And she says, Cappi, we've talked about this and this. I've coached her in the past. She said, but I don't have the fill in the blank. Time. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I don't have the know how, whatever, fill in the blank. So she said, I don't have the money to do that. And I said, how much is that going to cost you? $50 at the most for this specific strategy I helped her create? And she said, yeah, probably. And then I said, okay, so let's pretend you had, the money to do this. And then she said, well, then I'll have the time. Okay. So your time equals your money, and first you start with that, and then so anyway, she started laying all these excuses in front of her. So I told her, it's almost like you're putting a box in front of you telling yourself, oh, I don't have the time. Well, we all have the same amount of time. Then she puts another obstacle or a box. Think of it as a metaphor, like a box, right? Oh, I don't have the money. And then there's this other thing, right? Like, oh, what if the manager's not there? That's what she told me because the strategy is very specific on what she's supposed to be doing. What if the manager's not there? Okay, well, then you leave your information, you have a conversation, and you do a follow-up call. So same thing at an open house. Like, well, I got the information, but I didn't follow up. Another box in front of you. So I just want you to understand these excuses, sometimes the overanalyzing end up being excuses, and then you stay stuck repeating the patterns that you've already rehearsed a million times that you don't want to do. And, again, underneath this for her, because I've worked with her and I know her pretty well, underneath it, it's a fear of being seen, it's a fear of rejection, it's a fear of looking dumb, right? So it's so funny. I was telling her, I said, I had an experience just recently. I'll share my experience. I went to this meeting and there was somebody there who literally pulled me to the side and was like, well, you can't do this and this and this. And I'm like, well, yeah, I can. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm, handing out flyers or whatever. And it's just so fascinating to me because it's like, we get to be and do our business the way we want to. I don't need permission from this person. She doesn't need permission from really anyone. Of course, you have to follow the laws and you have to be in integrity and you have to do the right thing if you're going to be in business. But you don't need other people's approval for you to say, for me, to go speak at an event. I don't need this person to tell me I can't give a flyer out for my own event that I'm hosting and paying for. Yeah, no, bye. So it's interesting to me that people get so fearful of what other people think or what they say, or how about this? That's why we work for ourselves, right? So it's just let it. I told her let it roll off like a duck in water, right? Everybody's got an opinion. right? You're never going to get the approval, especially with Facebook and social media today and likes and subscribes and all these great things. Not, I'm not for everybody and everybody's not for me, right? That's just part of us being in the human connection we're in. So anyway, don't create these excuses. And if you have a common complaint, I call that an excuse that you probably put out in front of you a lot. Okay. So you want to create clarity for yourself, right? So here's a tool I want to give you. This is a really great way to break through these obstacles, these barriers, and start producing and getting the things you want so that your productivity, your actions, your reactions, and certainly your results and outcomes all are in alignment. Okay. So I want you to choose one activity that produces you a result that you actually enjoy doing. So if somebody says, make 100 phone calls, and you're like, ugh, could you make three and call them a connection call? Could you connect with three people maybe on a Friday? When people are happy, they are more emotionally available on Fridays, believe it or not. Don't call people on Mondays usually. But just pick one revenue producing activity you can do, right? It's just something that you can get behind. I don't like to do things I don't like to do, right? Like, I'm not a great writer. I do a newsletter once a month, and that's all I do, like once a month, and it's usually a YouTube video or something. So, by the way, if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, you can just go to cappipidwell.com, get my free download. It's a mindset tip sheet that you can read every morning, and then you'll be added to my newsletter. So go ahead and do that if you want that. But again, just pick one money making activity. Do you like to go out to networking things? Do you like to do a video? Do you like social media? Do you like to pick up the phone? Like, what is that activity? And get really good at that activity. And then put it in your calendar, once or twice a week for maybe an hour, maybe a half hour. I always say chunk things down into biteable, doable pieces because then you do get way more productive. So, like, for instance, taxes are coming up for me. I don't love doing them. So I always start out with like a half hour. I can do anything for 30 minutes. I'm like, just start out. And then once I'm in it, I usually end up doing it a little bit longer. And then it gets done really, really fast instead of avoiding it forever because some things we just don't love doing. So find an activity you enjoy. Okay. And then again, if you love doing it, I find even when I make my calls and stuff on Fridays, I get a way better conversation than I would if I called Monday morning, right? And then also check in with your energy before you do the activity. So if you're sitting there going, ugh, I hate calls, or I don't want to go meet this person, and then you go do it, you're not going to be as effective. So you want to clear that energy. Maybe go watch one of my activation visual videos, right? Get really clear, feel really abundant, then communicate, then come from that conversation of abundance and fun and flow and opportunity and creativity or whatever it is. Don't come from ugh, right? So those are really, really important ways to stop that lack of productivity, those secretly sabotaging obstacles and excuses that you're using, and really feel amazing and do smaller things that are more consistent every week versus a bunch of things in a burst, right? So, for those of you that are really ready to break through your barriers and you want to get more information on how I work and rewire your subconscious, you can go ahead and click the link below. I do have a calendar there. And this, again, is a medium to high end. Either one on one coaching with me for 90 days, where I create all your strategies, I make you personal sessions, I help you break through all your barriers so that you can go monetize and soar in your own success. And then I have a group coaching program, which is a smaller investment, but it is an 8-week investment of your time and money. And I do calls for both of those to qualify you. So click the link below. And you can also go to my website and I say, buy me in a box. I have programs on there to rewire your money mindset and other money mindset programs on there. So go ahead and just check out cappipidwell.com or book a call today. And I will see you on the other side. I'm really, really excited for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks so much.